discuss our topic. But before that, let me introduce ourselves to you. I am April Rebellion Mamalen.
I am Nina Frey P. Momon.
And I am Crystal Ann Mallorca.
And we will going to talk about the topic of gender-based violence,
Survivor,
victims,
Perpetrator,
and human rights. So without further ado, let's start it!
Let's go now.
So, good morning once again. So, my topic is all about consequences of gender-based violence. These consequences include serious, immediate, and long-term impact on the sexual, physical, and psychological health of survivors. There are three kinds of consequences. First is health, second is social, and third is economic. So, the first one is health. Health consequences include unwanted pregnancies, complications from unsafe abortions, sexually transmitted infection including HIV injuries, mental health and psychosocial effect, depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, suicide, and death. Violence also affects children's survival, development, and school participations. So, example of health consequences. Yung pag ang isang babae ay nakakaranas ng isang panggagahasa, nakakaapekto sa kanyang kalusugan. Kasi, lalo na yung kapag ang babae ay nakakaranas ng panggagahasa at siya ay nabuntis, so kinakailangan niya na i-abort ang bata kasi ayaw niya na mabuhay ang bata sa loob ng tiyan kasi hindi niya gusto ang nangyari sa kanyang buhay. Kaya meron ding mga posibilidad na hindi nila makaya ang nangyari sa kanilang buhay na karanasan. Kaya ang iba ay meron silang depression, anxiety, meron silang tinatawag natin na trauma dahil sa nangyari, o kaya yung iba ay hindi na nila naagapan o hindi nila kaya hindi nila nakaya ang nangyari sa kanilang buhay nang dahil ganun nga, na-rape sila, kaya nagkakamit sila ng suicide, yung dahilan ng pagkamatay. So, yan ang health consequences, yung naapektuhan ang iyong kalusugan nang dahil sa nangyari sa iyong buhay. So next is punta naman tayo sa social consequences. It is extend to families and communities. Families can also be stigmatized as a sequence of gender-based violence. For example, when child are born following rape, or if a family members choose to stand by a survivor, fellow members of their community may avoid them. So yung isang tao o isang babae na ginagahasa simula pa sa kanyang pagpanganak, o yung tinatawag na bata pa siya ay nakakaranas na siya ng panggagahasa. So, yung kanyang pamilya ay pinanindigan. So, expected na ang komunidad ay mag-a-avoid sa kanya, yung iiwas sa kanila kasi nga nalalagay sa kanilang isipan na bakit pinandindigan ng mga kanyang pamilya na ganun ang nangyari sa isa nilang sa isa sa kanilang pamilya. Kaya ang social consequences, ito yung buong komunidad ang nag-iiwas sa iyo dahil nga ikaw ay nakaranas ng ganyan. So yan ang tinatawag na social consequences. So dumako naman tayo sa economic consequences. Pag sinasabi nating economic consequences, ito yung ekonomiya na kung saan include the cost of public health and social welfare system and the reduced ability of many survivors to participate in social economic life. Pag ikaw yung nakaranas ng panggagahasa or sa tinatawag na gender-based violence. So example, sa ekonomiya, ikaw ay natatakot. Ikaw ay natatakot na dumalo sa ganyan kasi nga hindi mo nakayanan sa iyong sarili o hindi mo tanggap sa iyong sarili na bakit nangyari sa akin to, bakit ako ay nakakaranas ng ganito. So imbis na ikaw ay makihalubilo or ikaw ay makisali sa ekonomikong pangganapan ay ikaw ay hindi na kasi nga ikaw ay natatakot na baka ikaw ay husgahan sa ekonomikong panlipunan. So yan ang tatlong consequences sa gender-based violence. So dumako naman tayo sa survivor, victim, and perpetrator. Survivor is preferred term, not a victim, of a person who has lived through an incident of gender-based violence. A perpetrator is person, group, or institution that inflicts, support, or condones violence or other abuse against a person or group of person. Characteristic of perpetration include. So, dumako tayo sa perpetrator. Pag sinasabi pala nating perpetrator, ito yung mga tao na merong kakayahan. Yung gumawa sila ng isang karanasan o sila yung nag-rape. Pero hindi sila yung tinatawag na makukulong kasi nga merong mga tao na nagkukonsinti sa kanila, lalo na yung mga mayaman. Di ba kapag ang mayaman ay halimbawa kapag ang mayaman ay gumawa ng isang magulo o isang karahasan, kapag siya ay may pera, kaya niyang itapon o kaya niyang ipanakip yung kanyang pera sa kanyang ginagawa na kasalanan. Kaya yun ang ginagampanan ng perpetrator. Meron ditong a person with real or perceived power. So ang perpetrator, ito yung mga tao na a person with real or perceived power. Yun bang may kapangyarihan na kaya nilang lutasan ng isang pangyayari sa kanilang buhay na ginagawa nila katulad ng panggagahasa. Kung nanggagahasa sila ng isang babae, kaya nila iyon na lagyan ng isang hindi ebidensya yung kaya nilang itago ang kanilang ginagawa na panggagahasa dahil nga meron silang pera, dahil sila ay mayaman. And B is a person in decision-making position and person in authority. Yun bang kapag ikaw ay may ginawa na kasalanan sa lipunan, lalo na kung ikaw ay nanggahasa. So, yung mga mayayaman na tao ay hindi na sila yung bang wala na silang ginagawa kundi ang pera lamang ang kanilang pinapakilos. Kasi nga, mayaman sila, kaya nilang gawin lahat dahil sa power ng money. So, yan ang ginagawa ng mga gender-based violence or tinatawag natin na yun ang nagagawa ng perpetrator na kaya nilang lutasan ang kanilang ginagawa na panggagahasa o pang-aabuso dahil nga sa power o kapangyarihan ng pera. So, yun ang survivor, victim, and perpetrator. And all incidents of GBV, there is always survivor, victim, and perpetrator. Therefore, all action in the prevention and responses to GBV need to address both the survivor and the perpetrator. So, yun ang nagagawa o yun ang mga consequences ng isang victims, survivor, and perpetrator. So, yun lamang po.
Survivor and victim.
victim, how does a survivor or victim look like? One of the most frequency questions we receive that both terms are applicable when referring to someone who has recently been affected by sexual violence. When discussing a particular crime or when referring to aspect of the criminal justice system. Some people identify as a victim while others prefer the term survivor. The best way to be respect is to ask for this preference. What are the similarities between the survivor and victim? The similarity of how many victims or survivors perceive themselves as a piece of meat, not a quiet human. It appears to us that offenders view their victim the same way. Both survivor and victim experience high levels and guilt and shame. For a survivor, he or she may have experienced some from the physical pleasure during the offense. A fear because a survivor perceived that he or she was willing. What are the differences between survivor and victim? It's a phrase heard countless times as more and more people feel empowered to share their experiences of sexual assault. People use the phrase to describe themselves, indicating that they survived a traumatic experience. Human rights, prevention and response to gender-based violence and directly linked to the Protection of Human Rights Acts of Gender-Based Violence, violated number of human rights principles ensured and international. So, there are 4 human rights instruments in our Philippine Constitution. So, these include the following among others. The first one is the right to life, liberty, and property of person. The second one is the right to highest and stable standard of physical and mental health. The third one is the right of freedom for a torture or cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. The last one is the right to freedom or opinion and expression and to education.